What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley. You can find me on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28. That is the one and the only Scott Savage. You can find him on Twitter as well at Savage. Scott, what's happening today, buddy?
Oh, getting into it. We don't stop, and neither does the news.
Ooh, no, not at all. Don't forget, you can join us live every day over on twitch.tv/theofficialitg, as well as YouTube, other streaming networks, of course. And, of course, if you can't join us live, well, then that's no big deal. Hit us up later at insidethegame.ca, YouTube, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. Scott, a little PSA before we get started. My review of Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart went live this morning an hour ago at 10 a.m. Eastern. Make sure you head to insidethegame.ca, support my review, check it out, let me know what you think. Are you going to get the game? Scott, you don't have a PlayStation 5, dude. You are out of luck.
Yeah, it's going to be a little while yet for me, but I actually haven't seen your review yet, so I'm going to be one of those checking it out.
Awesome. I had a great time. I'm not going to spoil it. You go check out my, I'm going to say high score. Coming up on today's show for ITG Daily, Splinter Cell has vanished. There's a new PVP Tom Clancy instead title on its way. And could PlayStation fans be getting Sunset Overdrive? And wrap things up, Deep Silver tempers expectations for E3. Scott, let's get things kicking off here because we got a big one today. I want to talk about it. I've been dying to talk about it yesterday. It broke just before we went live. There's so much to talk about that I did not want to bring on the show because we had so much already loaded up and ready to go. So let's get into it because Ubisoft reportedly working on Tom Clancy PVP game that combines, ready? Splinter Cell. Let's... Scott, let's...
This has been a recurrent topic now for quite some time. At least, I believe we've been talking about this for at least 2 years now.
So, in honor
what's Sam Fisher doing?
Well, let's do this. In honor of Sam Fisher, I would like to take a few moments of silence. Well, that's just crap, Scott, because it doesn't look like we're ever going to get a Splinter Cell game. I'm pretty disappointed by this, but let's finish up what's going on, because They're combining Splinter Cell, The Division, and Ghost Recon. The article goes according to this. Images from an in-development game called Battle Cat have leaked online, showing something that combines several of Ubisoft's largest Tom Clancy games into an objective-based PvP multiplayer game. The images posted on Twitter by account 0bytes0 have been released by VGC, which claims the information is authentic and relates to a first-person shooter in development by Ubisoft for PC and consoles. Battle Cat is allegedly in development in early stages and will not be shown at Ubisoft's Forward later this week, meaning E3, which is coming up on Saturday. Battle Cat appears to allow players to take on a role within one of 4 prominent Tom Clancy universe factions: Echelon from Splinter Cell, the Wolves from Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and the Cleaners and Outcasts from The Division. Each faction has their own specific playstyle. The leaked images have text that explain that Echelon players, are invisible in the mini-map and can reveal the location of enemy type or enemy team members, which then links them to the stealth and intel gameplay of Splinter Cell. Scott, why can't we just get a Splinter Cell game?
Yeah, we've been wondering this now. It's been quite a while since Blacklist, and at this point, I would take a prequel. Sam Fisher was in the Navy. He was something close to a Navy SEAL, and I would play that game.
Dude, I would take anything at this point related to well, I shouldn't say anything, because we are getting anything right now. That's the biggest disappointment. We're not getting a full Splinter Cell game. We're getting snippets of Sam Fisher in Breakpoint. We saw him come over to Ghost Recon Wildlands. He was in there for some DLC. Then he came over in the world of Breakpoint. I'm like, okay, great. Like, this has got to be leading up to something. Then they put him in Rainbow Six. Dude, they put him in Rainbow Six. And they also jump him into some mobile game that Ubisoft created as well. Like, he's in all of these games around the world of Tom Clancy, but he's not in his own game since the PS3 and Xbox 360 days. I just don't understand.
That brings me to a thought. It's been a whole console generation now. It's almost time. We're almost into the territory where an HD remaster would still be palatable. I think there's a thirst for it, and Ubisoft seems to know this because they keep featuring Sam Fisher. He keeps coming back. They know he's a favorite.
Well, exactly, right? So let's continue on with the article. So we get stealth gameplay from the Echelon class. The Wolves, meanwhile, are described as having additional armor, flashbang resistance, and personal shields. The Cleaners are apparently damage specialists with napalm turrets, flame-spreading drones, and extra grenades, while the Outcasts have a healer support class with health regen and hive gadgets. Dude, to me, this sounds like a cool game. Like, I'm excited to see what each of these are going to bring to the table. We're not going to see this, I don't think, anytime soon. These faction characters also have ultimate abilities. Outcasts can use Divine Intervention to prevent allies from dying for a limited time. The Wolves, meanwhile, have a large mobile area of effect shield for use in push or defense situations. The leaked details revealed 2 game modes: Payload, which sounds similar to Overwatch in Team Fortress 2 escort style matches, and Ringleader, in which teams must collect rings from fallen players, kind of like, I would say, like a dog tag, Scott. You know what I mean? Okay,
yes, that's similar to Call of Duty's Kill Confirmed. That
Absolutely
sounds like that to me.
Yeah. So, you know what? If it proves to be genuine, Battle Cat won't be the first Tom Clancy mashup Ubisoft has created. It announced Tom Clancy Elite Squad in 2019. That's the mobile version, where they mashed all of their franchises together, right?
I'm interested to see how that was taken on. It must have done well if they're considering something along the same concept, but for console.
Man, like, there's got to be, Scott, I just don't understand. So I want to jump into this, because this is, for us, it's a big topic when it comes to the world of Splinter Cell. We have been covering Splinter Cell for years. We've been big fans of the series. We don't understand why it hasn't come back. And it kind of makes me question a few things. The stealth genre of games, to me, then, in that case, there's a reason why Ubisoft isn't putting it out. Is that because stealth genre alone just doesn't sell, Scott? Is that the biggest thing right there?
It seems to sell a lot less than a hero-based PvP.
Open world.
I guess it was Overwatch that kind of began that trend, but
sure.
I'm curious to see Ubisoft throw their weight into the ring. I think it could result in something really cool, but yeah, we are quite disappointed by the lack of a Splinter Cell game.
Well, let's take a look at it, Scott. If we take a look back, right, the fact that there right now really isn't a dedicated stealth game whatsoever. Arcane making Deathloop. They've gone away from the Dishonored series. We won't get another Dishonored. They said Dishonored just didn't sell well, right? So their one stealth game doesn't sell well. Has a huge cult following. I follow the game. Personally love the game because I'm a stealth player. That's my play style. First-person shooter, dude, I will still go over stealth versus anything else, right? You know what I mean? So I'm looking to see what else I can do in that case to sneak my way around things. Thief out of Square Enix, gone. Like, that's not happening anytime soon either. Metal Gear Solid, pretty well dead, I would say, at this point, right? Because Kojima and Konami are just separated. I don't think we'll ever see anything out of that.
I'm afraid if another one comes out, really, that's...
Yeah, absolutely, right? Because what does that look like? Another, what was that other spin-off? Metal Gear Survive. Oh, man, nobody wanted that. That was just... that's painful. So to me, the ultimate decision comes down to money, right? It needs to sell well. You see IO Interactive take Hitman and take off on their own. Square Enix says, you know what? You guys do great at what you do. It just doesn't sell for us. Does not sell enough for us. So then they just disappear. Dude, the stealth genre, I love. My favorite genre of all time. That's my preferred go-to. Just doesn't... There's not enough of us, Scott. We need to rally the troops for some stealth gamers, and maybe we can start another petition, just like Days Gone 2, and get that going.
Yeah, it's worth a try at this point. Some of these games have changed over time, like Assassin's Creed. At one point, you could have made the argument that it is a stealth game, but now with the new iterations of them, they're more of an RPG. It's not nearly the stealth kind of genre. It doesn't really fit that. And then we are both really fans of Dishonored, but Dishonored itself it kind of plays more like a Predator style game where you're just kind of tearing through the NPCs instead of stealth.
Well,
there really is a missing hole there. There's no dedicated stealth game.
You even saw, Scott, the change of Splinter Cell with Blacklist, right? No longer are you doing scissor kicks, staying up in the dark hallway to drop on people. You were in broad daylight sneaking around. Like, you even saw that iteration move forward when it came to Ubisoft in their own Splinter Cell game itself. At this point, the only way I think we're going to get a good stealth game is if some indie studio comes in and develops some kind of stealth game for us. Because I don't think any big AAA studio is going to take on what essentially seems to be to us not sell very well is a stealth game, because everybody now has switched over to RPGs and open world games. That is it.
Yeah, a lot of PvP takes the forefront, and that's kind of where the focus of a lot of these big companies are now. And it's just and I'm disappointed to learn of Thief kind of running into an end too, because that was I look at that as Dishonored, but without the super amounts of magic powers and stuff like that. It was kind of more of a stealth game.
Well, even the Deus Ex series is gone too, right? Like, you take a look, dude, we have no stealth games left anymore. No true hide in the shadows, pop out of the shadow and take out your target stealth games. Nothing out there. Everything's gone to this fast-paced, hide in the broad daylight, sneak around kind of stealth game. Definitely changed the formula. What is going to come up next? I don't know. Oh, Northern Nerdcast joins us live in chat. Everybody over on twitch.tv/the official ITG, just like you can, every day at 11 a.m. Eastern, and says THQ Nordic should take Splinter Cell. They seem to have scooped up everything else. Dude, you know what? You're kind of right, but I don't think Ubisoft will give up the name. Even though we all want the game, we're just never going to get it, which is just disappointing, man.
It's sort of a scenario similar to Kojima and Konami putting out Metal Gear. If it's not quite from them, it's not going to be the Metal Gear we're looking for. And Splinter Cell, unfortunately, is like that. We could open the floodgates and let every company build it, but it's just not going to be the same. And
no, for sure.
At this point, I'm hungry enough to try it, but it could be disappointing.
Honestly, at this point, someone over at Ubisoft reach out to me. I will help design this game for you. I will write it. I will do whatever you need. You don't even have to pay me. I just want to play a Splinter Cell game at this point.
I'm so desperate. It to be Sam Fisher, but we could go with his daughter at this point. We could go with
absolutely. She comes back for revenge or something. Just, you know what? Kill off Sam. You know what? Forget it. Just kill him off and let somebody else take over. I think that's where we're at right now. I'm just throwing out everything I can now at this point. Scott to get some kind of Splinter Cell game. Let's move on because I'm starting to get a broken heart here. Ratchet and Clank ripped apart a new weapon teleports objects from other PlayStation games. Dude, this is gonna leaked into a whole scenario of fans uproaring over on PlayStation Insomniac Twitter feed because they're also posting stuff about Sunset Overdrive. Ratchet and Clank ripped apart new weapon teleports objects from other PlayStation games. Twitter video showcased yesterday. The Rhino 8's ability to take literal objects from other games, like the Thunderjaw from Horizon Zero Dawn, explains all of Insomniac's earlier tweets where large objects from other PlayStation Studio games are seemingly being teleported through a rift. Dude, Insomniac was on fire yesterday with these tweets. It was pretty cool. All of a sudden, they had the Rhino, which I was not allowed to actually even discuss in my review due to embargoes, but now Insomniac, the creators of the game, can talk about whatever they want. It's their game. So they brought this weapon out, and it teleported the Thunderjaw, dude, from Horizon. I thought that was so cool. But then it also had a screenshot and another Twitter feed later on about Sunset Overdrive. And that's when people really kind of go, whoa, ho, ho, because we all know Xbox right now, Microsoft published that for them, right? So Sunset Overdrive is a game published by Microsoft for the Xbox One and developed by Insomniac Games. Well, now Insomniac Games is owned by PlayStation.
That's a little bit of a shakeup there. That was a smash hit that kind of came out of left field.
Absolutely.
I don't know if there was much talk about it before it released. It was certainly a surprise to me, but I got into that and just immediately fell in love with this IP. So to see it come out in another iteration is exciting for me, just in general.
Yeah, well, so we'll see what happens. Scott, do you think we'll see Sunset Overdrive 2, or are we going to get like a remake of the first one?
Oh, that's interesting, actually. I had just considered a sequel. That would make a lot of sense, but at the same time, if the Sunset was originally exclusively locked, maybe it is worth just reprinting the game for a new audience. I think that would do well as well.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm definitely curious to see where it goes from there because, I don't think a lot of people experienced the game. That's the thing. It was an Xbox exclusive at the time. It still is, I believe. And the only place you could play it was over on Xbox. And, well, we all know how that last generation went. It all went in the favor of PlayStation, and PS4 just took off. So a lot of people didn't get to play it. So I wonder now if they're looking at maybe bringing it back, or are they going to just work on a sequel and kind of maybe give you like a recap at the beginning of what happened in the first one?
Or are they going to ignore this for several years and then bring Sunset characters back into a PvP multiplayer match game?
Well, the other side of it is too, today the embargo dropped for everybody's reviews, including ours, which I said earlier. You can find it inside thegame.ca. But the game drops on the 11th. So is this just a marketing ploy, Scott, as well? Like that really is just a push on their own stuff. But hey, by the way, here's Ratchet doing all this cool stuff. You might want to come take a look at the game.
Yeah, I don't think they need to push very hard for that one, though. It seems to be taking flight.
No, for sure. I don't think they're going to be too worried about that. And let's get into something new here from SteelSeries unveils Prism Caps. New pudding style, double shot, PBT keycaps offer the widest range of compatibility for mechanical keyboards, built for extreme durability and delivered enhanced RGB lighting. Pretty cool stuff. Obviously, we all know I'm a big fan of SteelSeries, so they have the widest capability, extreme durability, and enhanced lighting. You can check out these things, deliver the best-in-class capability, durability, and dynamic RGB lighting. SteelSeries Prism caps are available in both black and white colors in North America for $30. So,
and it's RGB, so you know it's for gaming.
Yeah, absolutely, right?
That's the mark.
That kind of says it all, doesn't it? Yeah, no, it's always a highlight there. Make sure you get your colors in there. Scott, I thought this one was interesting. The next article we have on the dock today, because Facebook acquires Unit 2 Games, right? A developer to expand content creator categories for social network gaming division. I just grabbed this one this morning. Facebook announced that it has acquired Unit 2 Games, the developer behind free-to-play game creation and sharing tool Creata. Scott, you and I checked this out over on Google Stadia when it launched.
Yes, this is interesting to see that Facebook has expressed interest in this, because they have the Oculus unit that they definitely support, but I don't believe they've ever produced any sort of software.
Well,
so this
it kind of makes me
a step in that direction. They're joining the ring.
Well, okay, well, let's get into the article. So the social network said that the addition will help expand its categories of gaming content creators. This will help include people who develop, publish, share games and experiences on the Facebook gaming platform. We can now make content creation easier than ever by bringing our team together with Unit 2 Games team and technology, said Vice President of Facebook Gaming, Viveki Sharma, I think is how that goes. In the future, people on Facebook will create experiences in a matter of minutes without the need to code, while more advanced creators can make content limited only by their imagination. The team stated, so this, I also found this was weird too. Unit 2 Games suggested that there would be no layoffs, stating that we're all staying together as a team. Scott, why would you even say that? You just got purchased by Facebook. I wasn't expecting layoffs, dude. You went to one of the biggest companies in the world. So I thought you'd just take your company and move forward with it. But it seems weird that they're getting into this. And my other question is, Scott, are they going to bring this to Facebook? Or sorry, to the Oculus platform?
I would believe that they would have some sort of Oculus inclusion, just because that's their hardware that they're working with. I think that would be a good move, but
I think so.
It sounds like it's playing more so just putting creation into the hands of users, and that's very interesting. It also follows along with Creata and what kind of a experience that is, where you get to create your own things. And I think this could turn out a lot of really good content, but it's having these tools open to everybody perhaps will create some less than favorable content as well.
Well, that's the other side of it too, right? Sometimes we're best off to leave the creation tools to the creators themselves. But when you get into, games like Dreams, I wouldn't even call it a game really, but in more of an experience, some of the coolest content ever created is by the users themselves and not the actual studio. Media Molecule is a fantastic studio, but to see what some of the actual content creators have created is fantastic. The biggest problem is you got to be able to go in there and take care of what stuff is good and what stuff is just garbage that nobody is going to want to play. There's got to be some kind of level of entry into that thing, right? Because the last thing you want to do is spend time wasted getting into this thing, just go, oh, this sucks. Because that's a turn off, right? They'll just turn you off the creation altogether.
I hope they feature some sort of community curation where you vote on it, or perhaps or rating system to kind of bring the good ones up to the top. Yeah,
no, absolutely. Scott, just like that, dude, I think we talked about 15 minutes of Splinter Cell, so we're getting late in the show. Let's get into Deep Silver tempers expectations for E3 2021 news. Like clockwork, the rumors are flying and the hype train is at full speed, which makes the need to temper expectations all the more vital. Deep Silver is doing just that following the announcement that its parent company, Koch Media, I think that's how it says. No one ever knows how you say this one. I think it's Koch Media, actually.
I believe it's German and it's Koch.
Is it Koch? We'll go with Koch Media.
I think so.
Has a few reveals in store for Summer Game Fest with Jeff Keighley. The company took to Twitter to put a more realistic lens on what Koch Media will have to show off, confirming that there will be no Dead Island, Saints Row, Metro, or Time Splitter news. While the upcoming showcase is exciting, Keighley did his own expectation management. He added to his initial announcement that gamers should manage their expectations more regarding any event, not just Summer Games Fest. With so many large events on the horizon with E3, the Game Awards, Gamescom, and more, Summer Games Fest is meant to be in an addition to those showcases. Scott, what are you expecting out of this? Because really, Koch Media has Back 4 Blood. They have Chivalry 2, which is on the dock today because that's out. Dungeons and D&D Dark Alliance and Dying Light 2. Like, they do have stuff to talk about.
Yes, I'm quite disappointed that they're specifically saying there's not going to be a Dead Island.
Yeah, I knew you would be.
That's a series that's very close to me. I think I've played Riptide a dozen times, but and Time Splitters is something that I had just recently in the last maybe year and a half had dipped my toes into and finally got an experience with Time Splitters. So
right.
It's disappointing to see that there won't be either of those, but you can't expect every IP to have a new iteration just because it's E3. So, sure. I mean, this is a slap of reality. It just is the way it is. Yeah. And I'm hoping that the Dead Island resources, team, the people associated with that, I hope those are the ones kind of steering the ship when it comes to Dying Light 2. That's what I perceive that to be the modern take of Dead Island.
Yep, for sure.
It has its own identity, but I see it as an extension. So there's a little bit of good and a little bit of bad with this.
No, Dying Light 2 looks cool. It's just too creepy for me. Scott, let's wrap it up. What games are coming out today?
Oh, we have a lot more releases than there were yesterday.
I know, weird.
We were struggling to find anything that came out yesterday, and perhaps there was some updates, but that's all that I could find. But today, there is quite a few here. We have Chivalry 2 coming to the PC, PS5, PS4, Xbox One, and the Xbox Series X and S. There is Edge of Eternity coming to the PC. The Elder Scrolls Online makes its way to the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series S and X consoles now. There is new DLC with Elder Scrolls Online as well. That is Blackwood. And that comes out, I believe, just about everywhere where Elder Scrolls is, with PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, PS4, and Xbox One. Important to note that still supporting the older systems. Fortnite Season 7, Chapter 2. I can't believe they're all the way up to Season 7 now.
Just like that, man.
That is a new update everywhere where Fortnite is. That's PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, and the Switch. That is getting to be a long list of titles.
Yeah.
Or consoles, rather. There is Minecraft, the Caves and Cliffs update. This is part 1. And that comes to the PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, and the Switch. And Willie Morgan and The Curse of Bonetown coming to the Switch. That's a curious title.
That one actually looked pretty cool. I want to check that one out. It looks like a side-scroller point-and-click adventure game.
But, well, they need to revitalize point-and-clicks in general, so that sounds like good news.
That and the stealth genre.
That's right.
Scott, let's wrap it up. That was ITG Daily. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Don't forget, if you can't join us live over on twitch.tv/theofficialITG, you can hit us up later over at InsideTheGame.ca, YouTube, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the world. Don't forget, go check out my Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart review, and all kinds of E3 content will be coming up this week. We will be live. Make sure you swing by again and join us there. Until tomorrow, everybody, we'll see you inside the game.